treat today because we have two fascinating young women, and you're happy because I'm old, to tell us about our wonderful library system. More than a century ago, Andrew Carnegie believed that the greatest contribution that residents of the city could make was to support a public library. He generously supplied the capital funding for over 2,500 public libraries all over the world, and half of those were in the United States. But he resisted endowing ongoing operations to the children now that have to run them for money, because he believed financial support was the most effective way to maintain strong relationships between communities and their libraries. Bellingham was a recipient of one of those library funding, and it had 57 steps to get to the front door. Downtown Bellingham, it was torn down in the 50s when the Bellingham Public Library that we have now was built, and its flattened land is now a parking lot. I'm glad I don't have to climb the 57 steps. But Carnegie's idea that the information and services provided in public libraries is the basis for its patrons to join better opportunities and better lives can still be found in over 15 public library buildings that our community supports. Today, the directors of our modern palaces, Rebecca Judd from the Bellingham Public Library and Christine Perkins from the Whatcom County Library System, will take us on a tour of our fantastic libraries, surprising you, I think, with the myriad resources they provide. Enjoy your tour. Are we ready for lunch or should we go on?
Let's go on.
Okay, so we're going to start with you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Jane. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yes, okay, good. I'm Rebecca Judd, Director of the Bellingham Public Library.
Great, and I'm Christine Perkins, Director of the Whatcom County Library System. We are really excited to share with you a little bit about not one, but two amazing library systems that serve Bellingham and Whatcom County today. We're going to be giving you a peek about what's new at your modern libraries and some insights into the challenges that we face.
All right, let's get started. So today's talk, we're going to be talking about modern public libraries, as Christine just said. But before we do that, I wanted to take a step back and look at the purpose of public libraries. Why are we here? Why are public libraries here? Why are Christine and I here? And I think this quote from Thomas Jefferson is a really good summary. An informed citizenry is at the heart of a dynamic democracy. So the reason that we have public libraries and the reason that we have public schools is that access to information and to stories and to knowledge, into opportunity and advancement. These are all values that we share as a nation. So public libraries are critical engines of our democracy. And I also included here a quote from Eric Kleinenberg from his book, Palaces for the People. And he says, libraries stand for and exemplify something that needs defending. The public institutions that, even in an age of atomization and inequality, serve as bedrocks of civil society. Libraries are the kinds of places where ordinary people with different backgrounds, passions, and interests can take part in a living democratic culture. All right, so how does that work for our communities here in Whatcom County? Well, the Bellingham Public Library is a department of the city of Bellingham. So we are we are a city municipal library. And 99.9% of our funding, as Forrest can attest, I'm not sure where he is right now, as Forrest can attest, comes from our city's general fund. So the governance of the library is a 5-member board of trustees, and those trustees are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by our city council. And we have a couple trustees here today. Can I ask our trustees to raise their hands? So we've got Deborah Garrett and Christy Van Ness. Thank you for your service to the library. Thank you for being here today. So another thing to know about Bellingham Public Library is that we serve the Bellingham city limits. That's our service areas. You can see in the yellow here. We have a central library in 3 branches, the Bellis Fair branch at the north, Barclay at the east, and Fairhaven on the south side. We also have a community drop-box at the Cordata Food Co-op where you can return materials. And then we have a small, I don't know if everyone knows this, but we have a small public library space in Whatcom Community College Library, BTC, and Western. And this is a place where you can pick up your holds if that's most convenient for you, where you can drop off your materials, and where you can also check the online catalog. So that's a little bit about our system.
And Whatcom County Library System is everything else. We cover the entirety of Whatcom County except the city of Bellingham. We have 10 branches currently, as well as a bookmobile. We serve the Whatcom County Jail. We also serve homebound members of our community who live outside the city limits of Bellingham. We have a library connection at the Northwest Indian College. And again, you can use that library with your Bellingham or your WCLS library card. Or you can get a card from them with your card from us. Our library system was founded in 1944. It was all of the unincorporated residents of Whatcom County deciding that they would like to have library services to serve them. And over the years, annexed cities annexed into the Whatcom County library system. So therefore we cover everything else. I'm curious to see if there's anyone here who actually lives outside of the city limits of Bellingham. All right, you're my people. All right, okay, good. Glad to see it. Bellingham Public Library and Whatcom County Library System have been fast friends since the early days. Our library system actually started with a bookmobile, and it was kept in a garage at the Bellingham Public Library. So we are very closely allied. We share a library catalog. When you search the Bellingham Public Library catalog or our library catalog, it's exactly the same thing. And you'll see all of the materials shared by the library. So you're getting access to hundreds of thousands more items because we share. You can put holds on things and get them delivered at any location of your choice, whatever is most convenient, and you can get things, return things wherever you would like. For that reason, a whole lot of folks don't know that we're 2 separate entities, but as Rebecca said, we have 2 separate boards, 2 separate budgets, 2 separate staff. We try to do as many things in tandem as we can, but we are definitely separate. Our overall missions are very similar. We want to connect information, ideas, and community. Bellingham, you would say it a different way.
Connecting each other with our community and the world.
You'll look at libraries around the country and you'll hear a lot about connecting and information and ideas. So we're all on the same page there. We have the same general services at both of our library systems, and we do our best to align our policies so that if you work in one community but live in another community and you want to use our libraries interchangeably, that it's very easy for you to do that and you don't get tripped up by some of our rules. We do have different governance and funding. Our job classifications are different at each location. We have different benefits and pay rates, so our staff is a little bit different. We also have some slight differences in collection development priorities. Bellingham is serving the big urban center here in Bellingham, and we have a more rural clientele, so there's some differences there. And there are some distinct community needs that might be different here in Bellingham versus out in the county.
Okay, next up, let's talk about spaces. So there's been a lot going on with our buildings at Bellingham Public Library, so I'm excited to give you a tour and to share some of the things that we have going on, and I'm going to try to be concise. So just as a reminder, we have 4 buildings, 4 libraries in our system: the Central Library, Fairhaven, Bellis Fair branch, and the Barclay branch. So as Jane was saying, the Central Library was built in early 1950s at the current location, and it was last renovated in the mid-80s with Claudia. So thank you to Claudia for that renovation. So that was almost 40 years ago, and for many years there was conversation in our community about building a new central library. You may have heard some of that conversation. But with the 2008 recession, the budgets disappeared, and those plans and those dreams were shelved. But as it happens, new dreams and plans appear, and in 2016, the library board took a turn in direction and decided to begin planning for a renovated central library. And to that end, then in the 2018-2019 city budget, we asked for funding, capital funding, to renovate just the main floor of the library. We're going to start there, and that funding was approved, so that was much appreciated. And then I don't know that there's much that can be said that was positive for COVID, but from the library's perspective, being able to tear apart that main floor during a time when the libraries were already closed, that was a benefit to be able to get that done. And you can see that picture. We were all under plastic and doing our curbside service. And then when we reopened in June of 2021, both after the pandemic closures and after this main floor renovation, we were able to open with nice new space on the main floor, new carpet, new paint, new ceiling tiles, LED lighting that meets our city's climate goals, much more open floor plan, new restrooms, new study rooms, and in the back of the house, you can't see this, but there's a really cool book sorter, so we were able to add that. Okay. And then we rolled up our sleeves the next year in 2022 and went to work planning, and we hired some consultants to help us create a facilities master plan and to take a look at our system from a more holistic view. And some of the questions that we wanted to know: do we have the right number of branches in our system? Are they the right size? Are they in the right location? You know, what are the gaps and what are the opportunities for Bellingham Public Library? And one of the key findings of that study, and you can kind of see it illustrated here, this is a drive time map, is the service area gap on the north side of the city. So we were able to identify that, and we certainly heard that from advocates in the city. Then we were also able to identify near-term, mid-term, and then 20-year long-term priorities. And then the very next year, we were able to ask for and receive with much gratitude funding from the city to open a new Northside branch at the Bellis Fair Mall. This was a very happy day last year. And sometimes people ask me why the mall. Well, there's lots of infrastructure, so there's a cost saving in having the infrastructure already built. There's tons of parking, so that's already there. And we felt like there was really a unique opportunity to meet and to reach new audiences at the mall that we might not otherwise see. So people could be going to the mall for all kinds of reasons and then discover the library. And that was really unique to this location. And so we had our first anniversary in April, and we saw over our first year over 25,000 visitors, 34,000 checkouts, and 731 new library cards, and that was the highest of any of the branches in our system. And now, moving forward, so here's where we are today. So we're circling back. I said I had a lot to talk about buildings. I'm trying to talk about.
It's good. It's great stuff.
We're circling back to the Central Library, and we have some exciting things happening. So we have some money secured from the city, and we are now in the process of securing additional funding opportunities. We have a state grant application out, looking at federal appropriations, and then also looking for to private philanthropy to help secure our funding to be able to finish the renovation at the Central Library. And what we're looking to do is to update and electrify the HVAC system. So we have both functional heat and also cooling in our building, which we know will be important for these hotter summer days and also those smoke events that we have now. Ground floor renovation, refresh and updated children's space, and we wanted to move the teen area down there. Refresh and updated community meeting room, meaning paint and carpet and ceiling tiles and lights, and gender neutral single-use restroom, so moving to that model. We know that over the last 40 years, our staff areas and staff needs have changed, and so we want to update our staff areas to reflect our modern workforce and their workforce needs. And then finally, improvements to the exterior and the immediate grounds around the library. Oh, and then the estimated timeline, so we're looking at, and some of this is tentative, depending on when we secure all the funding, but securing the funding and designing the project, and then bidding and construction hopefully next year, followed by completing the construction in 2026. Okay, over to you, Christine.
Okay, I can see lunch is almost ready, but maybe I'll finish the spaces part and then we'll be ready to eat. So Whatcom County Library System, as I mentioned, has 10 branches currently. I thought I'd show you a few snapshots in case you haven't made it to every part of the county. It really does make a great drive, and you can do it in one day. I did it on our 75th anniversary. So Point Roberts might be the only library in the country you have to cross 2 international borders to get to, but worth it. Ferndale Library just up the road. We have the Island Library directly across from the ferry. Another great day trip if you want to walk on at Gooseberry Point and head over to the library there, but check the hours. It has limited hours. Deming Library up the Mount Baker Highway. Guess which one is the top left? Lincoln. Top right, we have the North Fork Library in Kendall, Sumas Library, and then I threw in a picture of our bookmobile. Bookmobile service was the very first thing that our library system activated when we formed back in 1944. We just bought a new bookmobile in 2019 to celebrate our 75th anniversary. That bookmobile cost a little over $200,000. It was manufactured by Trivan in Ferndale, so we kept it local and they manufactured this beautiful bookmobile for us. It serves Lake Samish, Wickersham, Birch Bay, and where else am I forgetting? Glenhaven, thank you. Excellent. We are in a different situation than the city of Bellingham. Since we are our own junior taxing district, we have limited funds that come to the library system through tax dollars, property taxes, and we rely on our local communities to provide buildings to operate libraries in. In Birch Bay, we've been working for many years now with a really dedicated group of friends who have been raising money, lobbying state legislators, working with county legislators and a whole bunch of private donors to raise the funds to convert this historic home right on Birch Bay Drive into a Library Express location. We're thrilled that this will be opening. We're working on it right now and hope to have it open by 2025. It comes with 250 feet of shoreline access, so that is your public way of stepping foot on Birch Bay, thanks to the Whatcom County Library System. So really excited about that. It's going to be a great destination. We want to check out buckets and sand shovels for kids while they're there. In Blaine, we are also working to try to move that library into a new century. We're working out of an old converted public works garage. We've been there for a long time, more than 30 years in that location, and so that community would love to see a larger, more functional space, but it's going to take a lot of coordination to figure out the funding for that. Yep.
Maybe is that a good starting
Lunchtime.
point for us? Okay.
How do you want to arrange lunch, Jane?
Enjoy your lunch. Does everybody like the lunch?
So we were having a conversation at the table table about how many library people are in the room today. I asked the trustees to raise their hand, but if you work in a library or have worked in a library or have served on a library board or served as the BPL library director, Claudia, please raise your hand. I just want to see, oh yeah, that's right. Look at that, great. Okay, well I hope everyone's enjoying their lunch.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere, totally. That's what I thought. Okay, we're gonna keep the program rolling here and we talked about spaces, now we're gonna talk about collections. And as you know, the very first public libraries were established as a means to lend books, so it is absolutely no surprise that maintaining excellent collections is something that we work hard on. And today I just wanted to talk about a few collections at Bellingham Public Library that you may not be aware of, and I wanted to highlight. The first is our book club kits. So I don't know, maybe just another quick show of hands, how many people are in a book club group? Lots of book club groups. So if you're not aware, we have kits at the Bellingham Public Library that you can check out for the date of your book club group. We have over 200 kits for your use. We also have to the right there our Community Voices kits. These are kits that are curated by our children's department, and these celebrate and elevate diverse voices in our communities and diverse stories. On the bottom right, I wanted to just have a shout out for our local author collection. This is located in our children's room and also on the main floor of the library. And we know that there are many people who have not gone through a traditional publishing line but have lots of works, good books, and we have a place for your book at the local public library. So we wanted to make sure to celebrate local authors. And then here on the left, we know that there are many people who need access to digital services and high-speed internet. And so during the pandemic, we started up a collection of circulating hotspots, Wi-Fi hotspots that you can use at home. And these have been very popular even today, so a very needed service.
And with your Whatcom County Library card and your Bellingham Public Library card, you can access all of those things, as well as the things that we have specifically purchased from the Whatcom County Library System. We have online subscriptions to the Bellingham Herald and Cascadia Daily News, so you can dip into those from WCLS.org, same-day issues of those papers. We offer a variety of electronic resources at both library systems. We have Libby, which is the app that allows you to access ebooks, e-audio, and e-magazines. Super convenient. We also have streaming films available through Kanopy. Kanopy is a curated collection that focuses primarily on, I would say, more documentaries and foreign films, kind of the long tail, lots of variety of resources there. And in Whatcom County Library System, at several of our branches, we're now cooperating with the Salish Sea Guild, and they are circulating or giving out seeds, so a seed lending collection. So garden season, pick up some seeds. A big trend across the United States in terms of libraries are circulating not just books, materials, magazines, those kinds of traditional items, but things. So at Whatcom County Library System, we like to refer to the power of sharing. We think there's lots of things in your lives that you would like to use for a little while, but don't need to keep in your house. Maybe you want to declutter at home, or you're in a smaller space, or you just don't need things all the time, but would like to have them and use them. So that's where our Library Things collection comes in. Some of the highlights there, we have Discover Washington backpacks complete with trail guides and bird watching guides, binoculars. They come with a Discover Pass, which makes it possible for local families and individuals who want to go visit our local parks but don't have the means to pay for a Discover Pass. They can check out that backpack. We now have ukuleles. We have some ukulele fans in the house. I know ukuleles are big in Bellingham. And if you just want to try them out before you decide that you're going full 2 feet into the ukulele world, you can check one out from the library. They come with a tuning guide and some basic songbooks for you to check out. Bellingham started offering happy lamps. So now that the sun has come out this spring, we might not need them quite as much, but I'll tell you what, all winter, the holds list was massive for happy lamps, so please check them out from the library. We've added a few on the Whatcom County Library System side as well. And then American Girl dolls, this is a huge one. For families with young kids, sometimes getting American Girl doll, all the accessories, the associated books, etc., is out of reach for them. Those can run you well over $150 or more. So we purchase them for the collection to loan to kids and adults too. We have more than 100 American Girl dolls, and there is always a hold list, at least 10 kids deep, waiting for each of those dolls. So wildly popular. It allows kids to have more than one doll in their lives. It allows them to enjoy them for a little while and give them back. So all sorts of great things in our library of things. We're constantly looking for things that we can add, that we have room for on our shelves, that would really benefit people across the county.
Okay, next we're going to move on to services. And of course, the Modern Public Library provides a wide array of services to meet everyone's needs. And at BPL, we divide these into 3 broad buckets. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about that today. Our categories that we talk about for services are books, bites, which are computer bites, and belonging. So easy to remember, books, bites, and belonging. And books is everything that has to do with stories and stories. You have to really hold this mic close. There's no forgiving me here. But books, stories, information, and knowledge, and that could be things like print books, e-books, digital audio books, magazines, newspapers, story times, Whatcom Reads, and summer reading. A Mango, we have a language learning program, and we also have digital tools like online access to consumer reports. And then Bites, this is all the things that have to do with digital literacy, access to digital hardware, software. And for us, that looks like our Wi-Fi hotspots that we just talked about a minute ago, all the public computers that we have available, technical assistance for those public computers, printing, scanning, a place to charge your phone, and programs like this that we ran during the pandemic called Reconnect. And then belonging is all the ways that libraries support the social infrastructure of a community. And that can look like remembering somebody's name, providing above and beyond service, listening, empathizing, connecting, facilitating, collaborating, making sure that everyone who walks through our doors knows that they are worth the effort.
So we do all those services as well. I want to point out that all of our libraries offer some opportunities for groups and individuals to get together in meeting spaces. The one shown here is a new meeting pod we have at the Blaine Library. It was donated by a local citizen, and it allows people to have a quiet, soundproof conversation right in the middle of our small library there. We love that meeting pod. It allows for one-on-one tutoring sessions. It allows us to proctor tests for people. So many people these days are doing online education, especially higher ed, and you need to take exams and you need someone to proctor them, and our libraries provide that service for people free of charge. We have sensory kits now at all of our libraries. We're celebrating Autism Awareness Month and recognizing that there are some folks who can use some extra help when they're visiting the library. So we have things like noise canceling headphones, we have fidget tools, we have different ways of approaching story times for youth who may be neurodivergent, so we're trying to serve those members of our community. And I think our staff really love putting together kits for people, making it very convenient for people to use the library. And some of those kits include People of the Salish Sea curriculum kits, and we also have since time immemorial curriculum kits for a slightly different age group. Those gather resources related to our local indigenous tribes and have them all together so that a teacher, homeschool educator, scout leader could check them out from the library system and do a unit about our local tribes. It's really difficult to find that information in the vast array of materials related to Native Americans and their culture. So finding something that's specific to our region is really important to us, and we work very closely with our local tribes to get the materials to put in there and make sure that they are culturally sensitive. We also have some STEM kits to check out related to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we circulate board games, for example, and coloring books, and any number of cool, great kits from the library.
Okay, we have many programs and events that help foster learning and connection, and so Christine and I are going to share a few highlights with you today. For BPL, we've been raising salmon, so we just did that this spring, partnership with the Nooksack Salmon Enhancement Association. So we raised salmon from the eggs to the fry, and then we released them at Whatcom Creek in a big community event with our neighbors at Nooksack Tribe and Lummi Nation. So that was really exciting for us. And BTV set up a salmon camera. So we had a live stream camera, and you could watch the day-to-day
Live stream,
hour to hour. It was great. Children's Craft Fair, I just wanted to give a shout out to this program. I don't know how many people have attended this. It's been going on for over 50 years now, and it's on the Lee Memorial Park behind the library, and it's an opportunity for kids to not only decide what they want to make, but then make their items and decide how they're going to price them and decide how they're going to display them and make change and sell them on the day. It's just such a celebration of creativity and also kind of that entrepreneurial spirit. So we have another children's craft fair this summer, both on the lawn behind the library and also at Bells Fair Mall. Learning Together, so we have programs for adults, and this is a program that we've done this spring in partnership with Western Washington University. You can see the engagement and intergenerational learning that's happening around 4 different sessions on different aspects of sustainability. So those have been really popular this spring. And we, of course, we'd love to get out and about, and this is a picture of us at Library Card Night at the Bellingham Bells game. So fun.
So Whatcom County Library System, we have hundreds of events happening throughout the year at all of our branches. You don't have to be a card holder to attend. You can live in Bellingham and come to any one of our branch libraries and participate in the events there. They're all free of charge. One interesting one we're doing right now is called LAP certification. It's really an unofficial certification for people who are interested in learning about early learning, particularly about working with preschoolers and how to share early literacy skills with them. Our Million Trees Project partnership is for the summer reading program. We encourage people in the county to read books over the summer for the summer reading program and would earn, tokens, would earn steps to grow trees. So we were getting trees as the reward for summer reading. So that was pretty exciting, and summer reading happens for people of all ages, so you too can read and earn trees to be planted in our community. In November, we had our first ever open book festival. Trying to describe this to people, we say we were celebrating bookish enthusiasm. It was just kind of a wild and wacky day out at the Ferndale Events Center. We had authors speaking, poets, local folks. We had book crafts. We had just celebrating books in all forms. Dolly Parton made an appearance. At least a cutout of Dolly Parton. But it was a great event for everybody who loves books, and we will be doing that again this November, so mark your calendar. And a few other odds and ends here that I don't want to let this session go by without mentioning. We have a wonderful community resources page that helps connect people in Whatcom County to the information that they need when they need it. That's been in partnership with Whatcom, it's WRIC.
Whatcom Resource Information Collaborative.
Whatcom Resource Information Collaborative. I know Jane Lowry is here, and that's something that it's similar to what she worked on at Bellingham Public Library years ago. It's kind of its latest iteration, so that's really a wonderful resource for people. Top right, since Neil's talking, he puts on a wonderful podcast about libraries, so while you're doing your chores around the house, you could listen to our library podcast and learn a little bit more about the library system and the wonderful people who use it and work for it. In the center, I just want to point out some of our programs related to teen creativity. We have the Walk Comics program that we do in partnership with Bellingham, asking teens from around the county to submit their original art, which we publish in a book. We also do the Forest of Words poetry project and get teens to submit poems. And we just had their great poetry reading recently at the Ferndale Library. And man, if you ever start feeling down about the future, you just need to go to one of those and listen to these kids. And they're so honest and direct and fabulous writers, and it just really gives you a lot of hope. We do a lot of cultural programming at Whatcom County Library System. We've actually hired multiple people who are considered public service assistants, cultural liaisons. So we have Amelia and Diana are our Hispanic cultural liaisons. We have liaisons to the Nooksack tribe and the Lummi Nation. And we just recently hired a Punjabi cultural liaison to reach out to the Punjabi community. She's actually serving 3 libraries because both Linden, Blaine, and Ferndale all have a sizable Punjabi community. And finally on the right, can you spot a scam? There's a little handout on each of your tables. We've been partnering with the University of Washington iSchools Center for the Informed Public, as well as the National Science Foundation, on a grant to help spread out information about being safe online, information literacy. And we want to help people spot scams and avoid heartache, especially when you're doing shopping online. So we all like to buy stuff online. Be cautious. Go to our website and learn some new skills.
Okay, next let's take a deep breath and talk about the challenges facing modern libraries.
No pictures on this one.
No pictures. Certainly the most in the news, to be sure, is censorship, and so we put that first. I just looked up the American Library Association stats for 2023, and 2023 had the most book challenges, most titles challenged of any year that the American Library Association has been documenting bans or challenges on books. Over 4,000 titles were challenged or banned, and over 1,200 attempts to restrict access to library materials. So just something that is a very important national story for us to follow, something that Christine and I, Whatcom County Library System and BPL, have been out of the eye of the storm of this so far, but something that we're certainly tracking. We also know that across our country, in cities across our country, we're facing really a triple threat. So rising housing costs, inadequate funding for mental health services, and also a fentanyl crisis, particularly here on the West Coast now, that is something that is unprecedented. And so the libraries being a reflection of the communities we serve, we are certainly seeing more people in crisis in our buildings. So that's certainly a challenge. And budgets and inflation, we know that inflation has gone up, so that the purchasing power for libraries is less. And we also know that these budget hits can come to libraries at the very worst time. So when we are in times of recession, the time that most people in our community need the access to the library the most, that's often the time that all of us are facing the deepest cuts.
So I would like to mention a challenge that you might not think about or know about, which is access to electronic materials. Many of you have Kindles or ebook readers at home. In fact, ebook reading continues to rise in our libraries. E-audiobook in particular is very, very popular. It's becoming, I think, about 40% of our circulation right now happening for e-materials, which is great. We are, however, struggling to keep up with the demand because the prices for e-materials are skyrocketing. Our publishers, instead of saying, wow, this is amazing, we can produce an ebook and we don't need to purchase paper or cardboard to make covers or ship all of those heavy books around, are really looking at this as a way to make some more money. And books for libraries actually cost, ebooks for libraries cost 3, 4, 5, 9 times as much as what you might have to pay as a retail purchase, even though the model for reading them is the same. One person checks out a book at a time and then returns it and checks it out for the other. Libraries in our consortium spend over $1 million a year on ebooks. We have heard that King County Library System spends more than $15 million a year on ebooks. Seattle Public, similar amounts. Millions and millions of dollars are being spent on ebooks. We feel that libraries are a very generous part of the ebook publishing ecosystem. We believe in compensating authors. We believe in making sure there are publishers to bring books out for us to read. But we think that the pricing and some of the restrictions that publishers are putting on libraries is unfair and not a good way for us to spend taxpayer dollars. So we are very fortunate in Whatcom County Library System to have a staff member, Carmi Parker, who is actually recognized as a Library Journal mover and shaker for her advocacy work related to ebook pricing. And she's done tons of analysis about this issue and can speak very eloquently about it and is lobbying for us at a national level and also locally. And we're currently looking at different strategies on how to approach this, either with some legislation or working with the state to get more funding so we can purchase more ebooks for people. But we think this is a really huge issue because there's the chance that publishers are trying to nudge libraries out of the ability to purchase books to share with the public, and we think that's wrong.
And also, ebooks expire.
Oh, ebooks expire, that's another element. They're not just saying it's gonna cost you 5 times as much. They say you can only have them for 24 months, or sometimes they will say for 26 checkouts, and then it bing, disappears and you'd have to purchase it again. So that's a new thing. The other thing they tried to do is embargo library materials. So that meant a new book would come out and libraries were only allowed to purchase 1 copy of the ebook, just enough to get it in our catalog and get all of you excited to put a hold on it, but then they wouldn't let us purchase additional copies. So they were embargoing it. So Carmi Parker was one of the people who led all of us in a boycott of that publisher and was ultimately successful in getting that little blip in their policy changed. But it's something that I think we need to keep being aware of before it's too late. It's a little bit like we're a frog in the boiling pot of water, right? This is happening and it's happening and we need to make sure that it doesn't boil us, turn us into frog's legs. So, okay, First Amendment audits is another little thing. It's only happened a couple of times at our Whatcom County Library System, but it's an unusual thing that really is challenging and vexing for staff to deal with. It's when a person comes into our library, maybe they have pure intentions, maybe they have a camera, and they think it is their responsibility or right to videotape everything in the library, including going up to staff members and members of the public with their camera, and then they post that online. And it seems that, in some cases, their intent is to fluster people, get them frustrated, get them upset, and the more dramatic the upset is, the more exciting it is, and the more clicks and hits that they get on their website. So we have had lots of conversations with our staff about how to do that. We have a wonderful branch manager in the Blaine Library who handled this very wonderfully. But it's just one example of how you just can't just think you're going into your day job at the library and going to talk to people about books and computers for a while, that you have to be on your toes when you're working at the library. I will mention, also have to worry about cyber attacks. And so we were the victim of a cyber attack a couple years back. I do not think the library was targeted. I think it was random that it happened to us, but it did. So again, being reliant on technology and the internet makes us vulnerable to things like cyber attacks. I think it's a lot maybe less damage than an attack on a hospital system or a water system or something else, but it's certainly disruptive and something we never knew that we would have to deal with in our profession.
Okay, and I know we're getting pretty close on time, so I think we're on the 5-minute countdown. But we want to be sure to talk about how we're addressing some community needs, and we'll start with Christine.
Sure, I'll keep it quick. There's some exciting projects that we're working on at Whatcom County Library System. One is at the North Fork Library, partnering with Sustainable Connections, the SNAP Ed program, and others to provide a community fridge. It's a free refrigerator where restaurants and grocery stores can donate individually packaged prepared food. We make it available in the fridge and people can just stop by and pick it up. We are deliberately placing it at the Norfolk Library in Kendall because this is an area that has some income disparity and many children on free and reduced lunch, and we think this is going to be an extra resource for people at a convenient location near the library that people know and can get to easily. Water rights adjudication, I could talk to you about that at length. For folks who live outside of the city limits of Bellingham, it's going to be a big issue for the next year. Every single property in Whatcom County has to prove their claim to water rights for ground and surface water in the county, and our libraries are going to be a great resource for people who don't have access to the internet to file their claim online or to do research to establish their claim. So we're working closely on that. Rebecca mentioned the fentanyl crisis, and so Whatcom County Library System is working with the State Department of Health to distribute naloxone in our libraries free of charge. Come in, no questions asked. We have naloxone. And I mentioned our cultural focus PSAs, again, trying to work closely with some of the communities that we may not have served optimally in the past.
Do you want me to close up or?
And
Okay.
we have,
I'm going to go super fast. I think 2 minutes or?
okay, 2 minutes.
Okay. So just very quickly, we know that there are many neighbors in our community who are suffering from really serious challenges right now, housing insecurity and mental health challenges and substance use disorder. And so this year we partnered with Whatcom County Health and Community Services. They have issued a contract to have an embedded behavioral health specialist at the Central Library every hour that we are open. And so that's a contract with the county, a partnership with the county, and funding from the city and the Whatcom County government. We also support many issues that matter in our community. This is a photo of Sam Quinones, the author of The Least of Us, True Tales of America and Hope, there's a long subtitle, in the age of fentanyl and meth. And he talked to a full house on this crisis nationally. We are very proud to partner with Monica Collar from Connecting Community about elevating diverse voices in our community here in Whatcom County. We've done 2 projects, one called Black Lives in Whatcom County and a second one called the Resilience Circle with neighbors in Lummi Nation, and we're working on a third this year. And then finally, addressing community needs, we have started a bilingual story time in English and Spanish.
Just slide through there.
Okay,
We do it with all these amazing people.
Okay, one thing, the Friends of the Library, they're here on the bottom, represented. Book sale today. Starts today, ski to sea sale, goes through Saturday, so don't miss it. If I do one thing here, I want to tell you about the book sale today. Our fabulous staff, we have 80 people, and just some stats about our checkouts, 1.7 million items, 9,000 new library card registrations, 600,000 visitors, and 1,000 programs.
We've got about 160 staff. And these are our stats for you. And Welcome Reads, don't forget, our next book is No Two Persons by Erica Bauermeister. She'll be here next March. So you have plenty of time to get your hands on a library copy of the book or purchase them from our partner, Village Books. They always graciously donate a portion of the proceeds of the book back to the Welcome Reads program. So we're really grateful to Village Books for that.
And Eric Kleinenberg's Palace for the People, Palaces for the People, mentioned that before. And I just wanted to make a note about the bookmark that you have on your table. It says Katie's Book Recommendations. And who is Katie? So Katie's one of our adult services selectors at Bellingham Public Library. She puts together a talk every year, and I wanted to share her book list with you. So that's what's on the table. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much for sticking with us.
Thank you. Did you guys know all those different programs that the libraries have?
No.
Yeah, amazing. Jane has the microphone back there. Anybody have a question?
And I'm going to hold the mic for people because you have to speak directly into it. So I'm going to start away from here.
You talked about budgets. How is it working out not having any late fees anymore? Are you seeing depletion in books return?
No.
Yes, it's been a great service. It really increases access to library materials. And we still do charge for people, if they don't return the book, they're still billed for the item, and that's how we get those items back. So we have not seen, but it's been overall a very positive program.
My name is Jean, and my question is, how can those of us who love to get audiobooks help you as the best way for us to borrow to help the costs lower for the libraries?
And give more people a chance to listen to it.
That's very sweet and thoughtful. I think honestly the best way is when we finally figure out our strategy with the publishers, we need to write letters to them and give them heck. Advocacy.
I just wanted to ask, regarding the audiobooks, is it possible to donate audiobooks? I mean, my husband and I have like 550 in our library. And I don't know if individual people can donate audiobooks, but
Individual people can donate. We are selective about what we take, and whatever we don't take in the collection, we do donate to the Friends of the Library groups, who then resell them to avid audiobook listeners in the community. So it all goes to good readers, one way or the other.
yeah, that's great. How do you do it? Just walk in the door and ask somebody?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, if you live in Bellingham, you can just come to the Central Library, and if you need help with boxes, we can help you with that too. I'll take care of a lot.
And if you live in
Ours are
Ferndale
all
or
streamed. I meant streaming.
Digital audio.
Digital audiobooks.
that's trickier because of the licensing with that. So I'm not sure that that's possible. You might,
Although you purchase it.
I know. We can look into it though. That's an interesting idea.
I'm going to ask that for questions, people use the mic so the whole room can hear what people say. We have a question back here.
Yes, my name's Linda. Thank you for the. I want to thank you for the interlibrary loan, and if you could just give a brief overview of how it's useful. I use it for foreign language books, and it's outstanding.
That's a great question. So if you, Interlibrary Loan is a national service that lending books around the country. So if you are looking in our catalog and you don't see the item that you want, you can click a button and fill out a request, and we'll either consider that book for purchase if we can get something that other people might also enjoy, or we send it to our interlibrary loan specialist and they put it in a database that looks all across the country. So you can have a book come to your interlibrary loan from University of Alabama or some other place. And it's an amazing service for residents that kind of happens behind the scenes. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So you don't have to do anything other than look for a book and place that request, and then we'll take it from there.
And if you live in Bellingham, send them to Bellingham Public Library. And if you live outside the city limits, you send it into WCLS.org. We have a Can't Find It page on our website, and that's where we'll track it down for you.
Can you explain to us how, I'm interested in this ebook problem, and then this interlibrary loan, which sounds like a great thing, but are the two interchangeable in any way at all, or is that just SOL for us?
Well, that's one of the things that we're actually wrestling with publishers is the ability, if we have an ebook, if we could share it with some other library in the country, and that currently it's difficult to do that.
Sorry about the buzz. Any other questions?
Hi, I'm here with my urban economics class from Western. I just wanted to ask, is there anything you think the city of Bellingham can do around the Bellis Fair location to improve the infrastructure and make it more accessible?
You mean in terms of outside the library or just hours?
Yeah, like in the area, like the Meridian Strip, that whole section, like right around the I-5.
I'm trying to think, so help me restate your question. So you're looking for how we can make so our location in the Bellis Fair Mall is right near Dick's Sporting Goods, so it's an inside place. And you mean just like how can we make it easier for people to find us?
I mean more like how accessible it is for other forms of like transportation, that kind of stuff. Like maybe people who don't want to commute by car, they want to take, they want to bike there or walk or that kind of thing. I noticed the area around there is not very walkable. It's pretty dangerous with Meridian being so busy. So
Yeah, the mall is so we're a tenant in the mall, and so the mall owners are the property owners, and so I don't know. That's great feedback because that could be something that we could forward. People are having trouble getting to us and the walkability. So I think our role in that sense would be more of advocacy. Thank you for the question.
Time for one more.
Over here.
Oh, yeah. And sorry about the feedback. We'll trace it.
I love all the programs you're presenting, and I'm always there to promote promotion. I know I'm more familiar with the Whatcom County PR efforts. I'm not as familiar with the city of Bellingham promotional efforts for all of those beautiful programs and books.
Oh my goodness, you've given me such an opportunity to say thank you to Annette Bagley, who's here from our community relations. And we have, if you're in the city of Bellingham and a library card user, you'll be receiving, or you hopefully are receiving, a monthly e-newsletter, which is full of news and information about programs and events and services. We also have social media. We have, we're trying to get out as many community events as we can, and so we're always looking at ways to promote our services. But that e-newsletter has been something we started just 3, maybe 4 years ago, and it has a reach of probably 50,000 people, 30,000 people now. So that's a really important vehicle for us to get information about the library out. But then also, as a department of the city of Bellingham, we can be on their social media, and we try to cross-promote when we do programs with other community partners. So you might see us on a different, community foundation or other kinds of promotional events where we're partnering. So those are some of the things that we do.
I just want to do a shout out to our community relations team is here also. Neil and Mary are here representing them, and we do all the same things, but we also have a bus. We partner with WTA on some bus ads, which are pretty groovy. You might have seen the Walk Comics bus going around, so all that teen art on the side of the bus is pretty cool. We also work with a great local company called Giant Killer Shark on online ads, and so we're trying to target people who may or may not have library cards to make sure they remember what the benefits are and the value is of public libraries.
I think we need a big shout out to these ladies and to the public library system. They're so awesome. I also want to thank all of your patients today for our interruption in the program, and thank the Backyard Barbecue. They did just a great job to get that beautiful. And Thomas Humphrey, who helped with we also had a problem with our communications today, so that was good. And don't forget to come to City Club next time. It's Alternatives to Incarceration. It's going to be a great program, and it's right back here in June. So thanks for coming, everybody.
Yes.